In the beginning, there was the hag. Okay? And the hag has many different names. Sometimes she's a wee old lady, sometimes she's a witch, sometimes she's known as the Queen of Death, sometimes she's known as the Queen of Winter, but she's most often known in Scotland and Ireland as the Cailleach. Okay? The Cailleach, and the Cailleach, she's a very powerful being. And the Cailleach, well, she takes the form, mostly she takes the form of a little old lady. She's a wee sweet old lady. She's got little old lady boots, and she's got a little old lady shawl, and she kind of smokes a pipe, a really reeking black smoke, okay? And she goes, But when she first came to Scotland and Ireland, because she is part of both of these deities, when she first came, she was a wee old lady, but she was a wee old lady who was 2 miles high, okay? So she was a very big wee old lady, okay? And she came, and there's a lot of discussions and a lot of research on this. Some folks say she came 100,000 years ago, some folks say she came 1 billion years ago, but whatever. She came, and she was tall, and she had all her little old lady accoutrements, okay, little old ladies have. So she had her pipe, which little old ladies have, or I guess her cigarettes, whatever she'd have. She had her boots, her shawl, smoked pipe. She had a little lady basket, and in the little lady basket was huge, big rocks, okay? Giant rocks, bigger than Galway, huge rocks. And in her other hand, she had her other little old lady accoutrement, she had a hammer, a big, huge hammer, okay? So she walked about Scotland and Ireland with her hammer and her basket of rocks, and she'd been looking around the landscapes, and she'd jump back and forth between the two countries, and she'd be wandering about, she'd see a mountain, and she'd be looking at the mountain, she'd go, no. And she'd take out her hammer, and she'd smack about the mountain off, bang! Or she'd kind of add a bit with one of her big rocks, and she was very artistic basically, you know, she was kind of like a sculptor, she was kind of smacking bits here, or sometimes she'd get a big rock, and she'd throw it, and she'd roll it across the ground, it would skate across the ground, and it would roll up a big chasm, and it would fill with water, and it would become a loch, or it would become a river, okay? So the Cailleach made the landscape. When you go about the landscape of Scotland and Ireland, you will find places named after the Cailleach as well, or the hag. You can get Hag's Head down in County Clare there. So everywhere you go in Scotland and Ireland was made by the Cailleach. Right? And once she'd finished making things, well then life began and things grew and people came along. And so she had another job. And her next job was she was the person that looked after winter, and she looked after death. Okay? And death and winter are very, very, very important in these parts of the world. For death, well, death is very important because it lets you know how important life is. If you don't die, you don't appreciate life. Life becomes more vivid knowing that it's only a short span. And she makes sure you get to death. Okay? Winter is very important as well, because in winter, all the plants and all the seeds and all the trees, they put their roots deeper into the ground and they get stronger. And again, with people in winter, we work closer together to keep warm, so we get stronger as families and communities. And it's the Cailleach who's in charge of the winter. Alright? So that's the Cailleach. Other things you need to know about her, she's a wee old lady. Well, she has little old lady needs, apart from smoking a lot and smacking mountains. She has a husband, okay? And come away, we speak the husband at India. Just pause for a moment. All you need to know is there's a giant little old lady and she's knocking over mountains. Okay, so she's got a husband, and the husband is called the Bodach, okay? And the Bodach just means the old man. And the old man, there's not really a lot said about the old man, okay? She's got lots of powers. He has only got 2 powers. Whenever you go in Scotland and Ireland, he has different names, but it's always just the Bodach, which just means the old man. His 2 powers, though, are quite important. One power is that he has a penis, okay? And clearly, this is quite useful some loving. She's got the man. So he's got Venus, that's one of his superpowers. And the other superpower is he eats children. He eats children. If children annoy him, he eats them. Or if they annoy the Cailleach, he eats the children, okay? I don't know what happens if she's wanting some loving and he's eating a child at the same time. There'll be a lot of confusion and issues, but anyway, that's that. She also, because she's a Cailleach, she changes shape, okay? Sometimes she's a wee old lady, and sometimes she can be a beautiful woman, and sometimes she can be like a wee girl. She changes shape, and she has another gentleman friend, okay? As all little ladies should. Okay? She's got another gentleman friend, now he's a bit younger, and he's called Mulhern MacLear. And Mulhern MacLear, he is the god of the sea, okay? And when I kind of picture him, I kind of think of Lahinch, Bondi Beach, surfer dude kind of thing, okay? He's kind of like a surfboard, a didgeridoo, and a dog, whatever. But he's like in charge of all the sea and the water, and he does all that kind of thing. But he's got this thing going on with the Cailleach. And when you go through all the stories, you're never quite sure what's going on. Sometimes there's friction, and sometimes there's something else going on there, okay? It just is implied, okay? There's things going on, and sometimes they're fighting. And I guess that makes sense, because if she's in charge of the land, he's in charge of the sea, sea and land are always kind of in conflict as well. And it can be very creative, it can be very destructive. So, that's the Cailleach. That's her love life dealt with. So the countries now, I'm going to tell you about the countries, and we're going to get to the story in a minute. It's going to get to the story in a minute, and it all will make sense. I'll give you a cup of tea. Hello! How are you doing? No buttocks in here tonight, which is good. So. Okay, alright. So, the countries, you've got Scotland and you've got Ireland. The landscape is made by the Cailleach. But what you've got, if you look at the map of Britain and Ireland, you put it on its side, you get the west of Ireland and the west of Scotland, it's like a continuous kind of line there. And so there's a lot of trade goes on there. And there's one point where Scotland and Ireland almost touch. And it's kind of like the north-east of Ulster, the southwest of Scotland. You can stand on each shore and look at each other. And at the time of this story, you get two big kingdoms. You get the Kingdom of Ulster, which is one of the great Gaelic kingdoms. But the other big Gaelic kingdom in this story is in Scotland. It's Dalriada in West Scotland. And just to make things more confusing, part of Dalriada is in Ulster. So a wee part of Dalriada in Ulster. So Ulster and Dalriada are kind of very close countries, very close kingdoms. We've got links with each other, allied with each other, and all is good. Now, once upon a time, this is the story now. So we've got the landscape, we've got Dalriada, we've got Ulster, we've got Bodog eating children, and we've got all that kind of stuff. So, once upon a time, there was a prince in Ulster, and his name was Fiachra Finn, okay? And Fiachra Finn, he was the son of the King of Ulster, so he was a very important person, alright? And he would kind of go back and forward to Dalriada, and kind of negotiating and all this kind of thing, or just sealing alliances. So one day he travelled over to Dalriada to meet the king. Now the king of Dalriada is called Ealaíon, or Ealaíon, or Ealaíon something. There's about 20 different names, and they're all Ealaíon, okay? So we call him Ealaíon. So King Ealaíon of Dalriada, he goes up to his palace. You go to Dalriada, and Dalriada, for those who don't know that part of Scotland, is Argyll. Does anyone know Argyll in Scotland? Okay. I love Dalriada stuff because Argyll is that's part of my landscape. I used to go there when I was little. I have family who live in the islands there. It's a very beautiful landscape. So, and that is what Dalriada is, it's Argyll. So he travels into Argyll, Dalriada, and then he comes to the shore there. He travels up the big hill there. There's a palace. The king is up there. So he meets the king. And Ealaíon, he's very, he's doing his king thing. He's a big feast. There's lots of food, lots of drinking. And then he's kind of showing off, because he's a king, he's a Gaelic king, so he does all that showing off thing. He shows off all the animals he has, and the fields he has, and he shows off the warriors, and he shows off the law courts, because it's very important for kings, they kind of judge the law and stuff. And he's doing all this, and of course, he shows off Galway at it. He says, look at my beautiful kingdom, look how beautiful it is. And Fiachra's very impressed. And then that night, Fiachra goes to sleep. He's sleeping in the palace, and he's woke up in the middle of the night. And it's one of the King of Dalriada's advisors. He says, come quick, there's something wrong with the king. So Fiachra went to the advisor, and there was the King of Dalriada. And he was in his bed, and he looked ill, and he looked thin. It was almost as if his body was withering. And Fiachra tried to speak to him, what's wrong? But the king, when he tried to speak, his words were slurred. It was almost as if his brain was withering as well. And all his advisors were around him saying, he's dying, we have to do something. So of course they called the druids. And the druids came along and they went, yep, he's definitely dying, that's not official, the druids are saying it, he's going to die. And the advisors are saying, well, what can we do? And the druids are saying, he's dying, let's just deal with it. And they said, no, we can't have death because they'll be destructive, we need the king to survive. And there was one of the advisors there, he said, you know what? There might be a solution. And all the druids are a bit put out with this person who's not a druid saying there might be a solution. They went, what's the solution? And this wee advisor said, well, you do know that a couple of valleys down the road, there lives a wee old woman. A wee old woman of the Cailleach dove, the Black Hag. And the Black Hag, well, she has got powers and spells. Sometimes the peasants go up to her when they're ill, and she'll make them potions. She's even got a little cow. It's a white cow with a red ear. And if you're really ill, you go up to the cow, and you touch the cow, and it makes you better. And the druids went, oh yes, we've heard of the Cailleach dove. Oh yes, we've heard of the cow. But touching the cow wouldn't work for a king, because a king is so important. What we have to do is get the skin of the cow. If you get the skin of the cow and wrap the king in the skin of the cow, then it'll definitely help him and he'll go back to life. So they're all kind of looking at each other thinking, who is going to go to the wee old lady and say we want the skin of your cow? And they all look at Fiachra and say, Fiachra, you're a noble person, you're a prince. Could you go down to the valley and kindly talk to the Cailleach dove? And just be aware, she's got a reputation for being a bit irksome. She's an irksome old lady. But she's magic, go and chat to her. So Fiachra went, of course, I'll be honoured to help the King of Dalriada. I will go now. So Fiachra left the palace, and that night he travelled. The next morning he came to the valley. And he came to the valley, and before he even saw the Cailleach, the wee old woman, the smell came. There was an awful smell. And he made his way up the valley, and sure enough, eventually he saw the wee old lady. And the wee old lady, she was sat outside her cottage, and she was smoking a pipe. And the smoke was reeking, it was black, thick smoke, and it was reeking. And beside her was a big pot. And in the pot, things were bubbling away. There was globules of things, and green things, and yellow things, and poofs appearing, and heads appearing, and all sorts of things. And she's stirring the pot, and adding wee pinches of salt in it, and then occasionally spitting in it, and stirring it round, and the smell of it is rancid. It smells like, old cabbages mixed up with old socks, and rancid meat, and vomit. Okay, it's really foul. And she's kind of stirring it and taste. And beside her is the cow, is the wee white cow with the red ear. And every so often she'll scratch the cow behind the ears, and the cow is very happy, it loves the wee old lady. The cow goes, moo, moo. She goes, oh yeah, yeah. She did just smoke a pipe. Just stir the pot and take a wee taste, okay? So Fiachra walks up there, and he sees her, she sees him. She goes, yes?
can I help you?
And Fiacre comes up to her and says, excuse me, old lady, madam, I have to ask you a favour.
Oh yes, do you want some potions? Have you got a sore throat?
Goes, no, I'm actually a prince.
Oh, princes get sore throat. Or perhaps you've got a wart somewhere, you know, or a genital wart maybe. Or penile dysfunction, I guess.
No, I don't want any of that.
So why are you here?
Well, I'm here on a very important mission. You see, the King of Dalriada, your bird himself, he's dying. He's withering away. His brain's withering. Nobody knows what's wrong with him, but we think we know what the cure is.
And you one looked and went, well, I know what's wrong with him.
And Prince Fiacre looked at him and went, you know what's wrong with him? Oh, well, what is it?
Sure, well, it's obvious. The man's an idiot.
And Fiacre went, the King of Dalriada's an idiot. How can you see that?
She went, well, it's obvious. Because, you know, he's forgot something very important.
Fiacre looked and went, he can't forget anything important. He's a king of all this land.
Sure, well, that's true. But he's forgot something very important. He controls all this land because he's a king. But what he's forgotten is he is not the land. The land is separate to him. The land was here long before he was ever born, and the land will be here long after he dies. He is but a blimp.
Fiacre's looking at it and started to think, this is a crazy old lady, but I have to talk to her. She went, okay, I'll make the point of telling him that he is a blimp. But could you help cure him as well?
She went, oh yes, if he's a king and he's dying, I know the cure is. In fact, Fiacre, I know why you're here. You have come for the skin of my little cow. My beautiful little cow that I've raised from a calf. And I've nuzzled up my breast and I've put to bed every night my lovely little calf, and you want the skin.
And Fiacre said, I'm afraid we need the skin.
She went, okay. What would you give me for the skin?
And Fiacre said, whatever you want, I'll give you another cow.
The old woman looked and went, I'll tell you what. If the King of Dalriada gives me a cow for each of my little cow's hoofs, then that will be the deal.
And Fiacre went, no problem, I'll go and tell him that he has to give you.
Don't let me count first. I have to count how many hooves there are. There's a hoof there at the front, so that's one cow.
And Fiacre said, yeah, I know, it's 4.
Don't interrupt. 2 hoofs, that's 2 cows.
I know, it's...
Patience. Okay. I go round the back here, you see, Prince Fiacre, and there's another hoof. That's 3 hoofs, you see. So 3 hoofs means, hold on. Look at this, Fiacre. The cow has got an arse. Ha! And the 3rd leg's on one side of the arse. And look at the other side of the arse. There's a 4th leg. It's 4 legs.
Fiacre's like, okay, thank you, old lady. So you want 4 cows?
Yes, I want 4 cows from the King of Dalriada. And if you can promise me you'll do that, then you get the skin of my little cow who I've raised my calf and I love dearly.
So Fiacre goes, okay, I will make sure the King of Dalriada gives you 4 cows.
And the real lady looked and went, well, you know, I think I would need you to stand surety. I need you to guarantee it.
Fiacre went, of course, I'll guarantee it.
No, what I mean is I want you to say to me that on your oath, if he fails to give me the cows, you will do what I tell you. You will make that oath.
And Fiacre looks at this wee old lady and goes, and I give you an oath, if you don't get the cows, I'll do it if you tell me. Fine.
She goes, no problem.
And with that, she opened the jacket. She took out a huge butcher's knife and slammed it into the back of the cow. The poor cow went, woo! And she cut its head off. Blood scooshed everywhere. Fiacre's like, ah! And there's blood coming out of his neck,
jumped on top of it, she started hacking through the skin. Just a minute. The poor cow's still twitching, the head's over there, the eyes are rolling, the head's still going, and she's hacking away, and finally, she gets the skin off.
The Fiacre goes, "Oh, well, thank you."
Not finished yet, Fiacre, not finished yet.
So she's holding the skin in one hand, she gets the knife, she starts cutting into the dead cow. She's cutting big chunks of meat off it, and she holds his belly, she takes out the intestines and the lungs and the heart, she throws them all in the pot, and she's chopping away, and poor Fiacre's like, "Oh, little old ladies, oh my goodness." She's still got the skin in one hand. She chops it all up, and eventually it's all in the pot and it's bubbling away, and now the cow's just bones. And Fiacre's looking at it, she goes,
Don't worry about the bones. I have plenty of room in my attic. I keep all my bones there, Fiacre.
and then she gets the ladle, she puts it into the pot, she takes out a big part of the smelly glute, she puts it onto the skin of the cow, she rubs it all in, and she goes,
There you go. Take this and wrap it round the cow, and it'll cure him. Or kill him, but he'll definitely be changed somehow.
Fiacre said, "Thank you very much, little old lady, thank you."
So it goes back, and of course the druids and Fiacre and the advisors, they wrap the king in this reeking cow skin, and the minute he's wrapped in it, suddenly the king goes, whoa, and his eyes open and all his muscles reappear, and he's back to himself. He says, I feel full of vigour and vim, and let's go invade Wales! And his advisors go, calm down, it's fine, just get out of sick bed. It's okay, I'm calm. So now he's calmed down. And he says, great, we'll have a feast. There's a lot of feasting in this. There's another feast. And of course, Prince Fiacre has been celebrating for getting the skin. But then a messenger came. And you're a medieval audience and you're going, oh no, a messenger? What's happening? A messenger comes from Ulster. And the messenger says, I've got bad news. Your king has that. Your father's died. You're now king. And Fiacre's like, oh no, I'm now king. And the audience is going, oh wow, he's king. And of course, King Gaillimhe, he goes, you're king, we are now brothers. And they embrace, says that we will be allies forever. And Fiacre goes, of course, allies forever, but I must go back to Ulster. And the King of Ulster says, of course, off you go, here's some gifts, off you go and be a king. And as he's leaving, Fiacre said, oh, by the way, the wee old lady down the road there, she wants 4 cows. And the King of Ulster says, no problem, I will give her 4 cows. And so Fiacre made his way back to Ulster. He sailed back to Ulster, and he got back to Ulster. But there was a problem in Ulster because there was another Fiacre, yes there was, called Fiacre Dove. And Fiacre Dove wanted to be king as well. But fortunately, Fiacre Finn, he's got a wife, and his wife's very, very, very clever. Okay? She's called Tacaíocht. Check that break. So she's a very, very clever woman, and she's managed to negotiate with the other Fiacre, and instead of being 1 king, there's 2 kings. There's now 2 King Fiacres of Ulster. And everything's fine, it all works out well, the Queen's negotiating, everything's good. Everything is good. There's cheers everywhere. Things are fine in Galway City Square. And a year and a day goes by. Excuse me. A year and a day goes by. And then one day, King Fiacre Finn's not a king, he's walking through his palace and he smells something. Something really reeking. And he realises it's the pipe of the Cailleach. And so he's into his room there, in his own private room, and there sits the wee old lady, and she's sat there with her reeking pipe, and the smoke's billowing out. And he goes, oh, I'm glad to see you again, little old lady.
She goes, nice to see you, King Fiacre Finn.
She says, what brings you here?
She went, well, I have a problem.
And Fiacre Finn says, what's the problem?
She says, the King of Ulster, he's not given me the 4 cows.
And Fiacre Finn goes, well, that's fine, I will get you some cows myself. I have plenty of cows, I'll give you 4 cows.
She went, No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That's not good enough.
And Fiacre said, do you know what? I'll give you 20 cows for every one of the cows that you didn't get. That'll be 80 cows, you'll have a whole fleet of cows.
And she went, no, you don't understand. The King of Dalriada has offended me and dissed me, and you know what? He needs to be punished.
And Fiacre looks and says, what do you mean punished? Do you want me to go over there and demand to give you the cows?
She went, no, 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 no. This is what you must do. You have sworn oath to me, so this is what you must do. You must go to Dalriada, you must get the King of Dalriada, and you must kill him. You must slaughter him, slaughter his court, slaughter his family, even to the youngest children. You must exterminate his entire line and all those that are close to him again, so people will know never to mess with me.
And Fiacre looked at her and went, ah, no. And she looked at Fiacre and then she kind of shimmered. It was almost as if she disappeared under water. She was shimmering and then her body vanished and she was replaced by a wee girl. And the wee girl was sitting there, she had a little summer skirt on, she was waving, hello. And then the shimmering came again. And the girl disappeared. And then there was a woman with a child on her breast. She kind of nodded at Fiacre. And Fiacre's looking at her. And then she shimmered. And then she vanished, and in her place was a gap in the air. And it was almost as if Fiacre was looking into a deep well. He could feel himself being pulled into this gap. And as he looked into the gap, he could see shapes. And some of the shapes were so black, appallingly black, they filled him with a terrible fear. And other shapes he glints of were white, and they were so white and so bright and so dazzling, they filled him with awe. And he didn't know whether he was looking at demons or angels. All he could know is he was being drawn towards the shapes and all these darkness and light, and it was pulling him closer and closer, and he was filled with terror, and he was filled with wonder, and he was filled with dread, and he was filled with hope, and more than anything, he was filled with an absolute sense of stunned awe. And then the whole vanished, and there was the wee old lady again, smoking her pipe.
Do we understand ourselves then, Fiacre?
And Fiacre looked and went, I understand. I will do it on my own. And so he did. Fiacre called up his army, and even the other Fiacre led him his troops as well, and they made their way to Dalriada on the Cailleach's orders to go and slaughter the King of Dalriada and all his family and all his court. And so you got all these warriors coming from Ulster, and they're travelling into Dalriada, into Argyll. And it's a landscape that must have been so amazing to look at. You're all there, the water around you, the boats are bouncing on the waves, the sails are filled with the wind, and you're looking around, and that part of the world is so beautiful. There's great expanses of water, and then there's kind of wee narrow bits, it's almost like Norwegian fords. You've got islands, some of the islands are flat, other islands you just suddenly appear and they loom up like great monsters. And you've got hills all around you with these soft hills with forests and meadows. And then beyond these hills you can see the great huge mountains of the Highlands. It's the most amazing landscape. And so these men are now travelling in the boats in this landscape going to war. And of course as they're travelling through, local chieftains see them, they're sending embassies, they're asking what's happening. And the message has been put out, we have come to kill the King of Dalriada. And the King of Dalriada was not happy with this, okay? Hashtag WTF. What is this about? So of course he knows where Fiacre's going to land. There's a lovely hill that goes right down to the water. There's woods, it reaches all the way up to the palace of the king. So he gets his army together as well. And he sends the army down to stop Fiacre and the Ulstermen. But he also sends out messages for allies. He sends out messages to other kingdoms in Scotland and into northern Britain and even into Scandinavia. He sends out folk for more allies. And his idea is he'll fight Fiacre and keep him stalled until the allies come.
But Fiacre knows this, so Fiacre, he's going to go as fast as he can. If anybody dies, they're not going to get buried, he's going to just push on until he gets to the palace and he can slaughter the king of Galway. So the first battle happened at the shores there, and it was a gruesome battle. Some of the accounts, there's hundreds of men dying, and they're dying is brutal warfare. Limbs have been cut off, noses have been cut off, folk have been gouged. There's some really horrific descriptions, which we don't need to go into, but it's a lot of dead bodies, and they're lying about there dead, and they're not buried because Fiacre is moving on as fast as he can. And of course, the Dalriada warriors, they retreat back. It's fine, they've stalled Fiacre for a bit, giving the king time to get allies. And so now they start doing ambushes and skirmishes, and the war continues. And there's all these gruesome descriptions of these dead bodies, you know, there's like, the crows come and they're picking at their eye. There's even an account of she-wolves. The she-wolves come and they find the limbs have been cut off and they drag the limbs away to feed their pups. Okay? And I guess in a sense, nature does not care for all the glorious battles of men, they just see food. But Fiacre, he's making his way through and he's slowly getting nearer and nearer and nearer to the palace of the King of Dalriada. But by now, the King of Dalriada has his allies. He has a huge army. He's a huge army ready to defeat Fiacre. But then the king, Eogaid, he comes up with an idea and he turns to his men and says, hold on, I can defeat Fiacre. I can destroy him. But that is not enough. For if he dies in battle, he'll still be sung about by the bards. I want him to die in a way that is so humiliating and so lacking in dignity that no one will ever dare sing about him, or if they do, they will laugh about him. And his advisors looked at each other, and the druids consulted their druid books, and they came up with a plan. And it is an absolutely crazy plan, and it's in the history books. I'm going to tell you the plan, okay? So Fiacre and his men the next day, they leave these woods, and they're going through these fields, and up there's the palace of the King of Dalriada. It's about 10 miles to go. And Fiacre and his men leave the woods, and it's very quiet, okay? And you can see no enemy, he's worried, so he sends out a group of 20 men to the left, 20 to the right, and 20 to the middle. They're slowly making them up the hill, just to get like a skirmishing group. And they're going ahead. And Fiacre's behind and he's looking about. And he's looking about, and then he sees it. He sees the monster. Okay? For those of a delicate disposition, you might leave now because it's going to get very gruesome. He sees the monster. Only the monster is not alone. Even as he's standing there watching, another monster appears. And another, until there's 200, 300. But the thing about poor Fiacre, he does not realise they're monsters. What he's looking at, what he sees, is sheep. Big, fluffy Scottish Highland sheep, with baleful eyes, walking about, going ba, ba, and eating grass. And it is sheep. But everybody in the audience knows this is killer sheep, okay? If this is a movie, you'd pan in on one of those sheep and you'd have the the sheep are getting closer and closer. The kind of skirmishers are out there. One of the sheep touches a man. And when the minute it touches the man's leg begins to blister, and the man screams in pain. And as he screams in pain, the blisters up his body, and his body begins to burn. And he's writhing and burning, there's flames coming off him, and then even as he lies on the ground burning, the sheep go up and they start peeling off his burnt flesh, like he's a barbecue. Okay, the sheep are eating the men of Ulster. They're burning them and eating them, and Fiacre's like, oh my God. And the sheep are getting closer and closer, and there's more men dying, the sheep and bursting into flames, and the sheep are still coming on and coming on. And now they absolutely surround Fiacre and his men, and they get their shields up, and the men want to flee, and Fiacre wants to flee, but he also, if he flees, it's humiliating, he's lost the war. But he knows if he goes forward to the sheep, he will die. But it will be such a ridiculous death that nobody will ever sing of his death. And he's surrounded with all these killer sheep getting closer and closer and closer, and their big baleful sheep eyes, and they're all going bah, bah. So the whole landscape is echoed with this bah. It's all kind of in their ears, bah. It's like torture, and in between the bah, bah, they can hear the screams and the screams of men being burnt alive and chewed, and they're like, oh my goodness. Actually, they may have cursed there. So they're surrounded now with all these killer sheep, and now they can see in front of the palace, up there 10 miles away, they can see warriors. But the warriors are unarmed, they're sitting there and they're laughing. They're laughing at poor Fiachra and the Ulstermen dying, being defeated by sheep. The sheep have got a poisonous magic on their fur, their wool, and if you touch it, it burns you to death. So now Fiachra's in the middle of all this, he's thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do? And then things get very strange. They get stranger, okay? He's kind of in the middle of this, there's sheep there, there's men being eaten alive, there's men burning to death, there's the enemy up there laughing, and then it all stopped. Suddenly there's a man writhing and he stopped writhing, and the sheep stopped moving, and everything went still like a picture. Fiachra was looking around and wondering what was going on, and then he turned and he looked, and there was a tall gentleman, okay? And it was Manannán Mac Lir himself, the sea god, standing there with his didgeridoo, his surfboard, and he's kind of looking cool, and he's got his ethnic tats on, he's kind of like, how's it going? And Fiachra goes, excuse me? And Manannán Mac Lir says, how you doing? I'm not doing well. I'm in the middle of a battle with killer sheep and they're eating my men and setting them on fire. I'm on a really bad day. I don't know who you are, so it's not a good time to talk. And Manannán Mac Lir looks at him and goes, hey, chill. Dude, stress too much. And Fiachra's looking at him going, what are you talking about? Who are you? I'm the guy who can save your life. And Fiachra pauses and goes, yeah? Oh, sure. I am the god of the sea, and I have many powers. In fact, I have a dog. Sometimes you might see me, the dog, up shop streets, and eat kind of stuffy thing with fleas or whatever the dodgy do. I think it's like, what are you talking about? And the man on the says, don't worry, it's fine, it's an old time, it's okay. Let's be, I've got a dog. And it's a magic dog, and it can change shape, and it turns into a demon dog. And you know what a demon dog? It's immune to potions, it's immune to fire, and it loves killing sheep. Particularly cannibal man-eating sheep, and loves eating them. And Fiachra goes, wow, really? And Manannán Mac Lir goes, yeah, really. And you know what? I know why you're here. You're here to kill the King of Ulster and his entire family because they've dissed the Cailleach. He goes, that's right. And Manannán Mac Lir says to him, you're not doing a really good job, are you? And Fiachra goes, do you know what? I'm not, I admit it. Men admitting their problems, it's very good men to do this. He opens up and goes, you know what, I'm not doing very well here. I'm actually feeling emotional here. I'm in a really bad time. I need a hug. And Manannán Mac Lir gives him a hug, and it's a man bonding moment. First man bonding moment in Scottish Irish history. Okay, says Manannán Mac Lir. He said, okay, so you're going to give me the dog? And Manannán Mac Lir goes, well, I can give you the dog, but we have to have an agreement. And Fiachra goes, what agreement? I want something from you. And Fiachra goes, of course, no problem. I'll give you gold, money, human sacrifices, another dog, whatever you want, and give it. And Manannán Mac Lir, who's the stud of Irish legends, okay, he's kind of standing there and goes, do you know what? I'll tell you what I want. You've got a lovely wife, okay? That's something. I've got a beautiful wife. She's now the Queen of Ulster. She's gorgeous. And you know what I want to do? I want to sleep with her. And Fiachra looks and went, my wife? You want to sleep with her? Yeah. So you give me permission to sleep with her, and I'll go and sleep with her, and then I'll come back with my dog, and I'll save you. And Fiachra goes, sure, fine, no problem. Go give it one, that's grand, no problem. And Manannán Mac Lir says, however, I have to kind of, do it the honourable way. I'll disguise myself as you. And he shivered, and he turned into Fiachra. Fiachra was looking at himself, but
about was man on my clear. And then my clear goes, and give me your wedding ring. So Fiacre gives the wedding ring to man on my clear. And man on my clear disappears. Oh, he gets a cup of tea. And everybody in Medieval Ireland's going, what's going to happen now? So there's still sheep out there going, bah. There's still men bleeding and burning to death. There's the enemy up there laughing. Man on right there vanishes and he reappears in Ulster. And there's the Queen of Ulster. She's kind of standing there. She's at the beach. And she's a really stressful Queen of Ulster kind of day, okay? She's missing her husband. She's having to run a country. She's having to negotiate with that crazy Queen down in Connaught. She's been looking after the law court. She's really stressed out. She's walking along the beach. And she looks up and she sees her husband. But is it her husband? No. And she kind of looks at him and he kind of strolls over and he goes, hi. Hi there, wife. She goes, hi, husband. I thought you were having a war. Oh yeah, I'm doing a war thing, but like, I'm back to check supplies, so I'm just thinking what's in here. How about it? She went, how about what? How about it? And she went, what are you talking about? You and I, Queen, doing it, nude, naked. She went, Fiacre, what are you talking about? Have you suffered a war wound? Is this a PTSD thing? What's going on? But no, I'm just saying, you know, I've been away, you must be missing me. Ah, let's do it. She goes, no. And man on my clear's like, huh, okay. The man on my clear's, you'll then know the Ulster, he's a bit of a gentleman as well. He says, okay, fine, we'll just carry on walking the beach. So they walk along the beach, and she's walking along there, and he's walking beside her, and they're looking at the water. And as they're standing there, the seagulls come and trade that seagull to them. And they're looking, the seagulls doing their thing. And man on that near turns to the Queen of Ulster and he says to him, what do you see? And she looks at the water and she says, I see water, and I see waves, and I see the sunlight on the top of the waves, and it's so beautiful. And you know, even looking at it, it's helping me relax. And man on that near says to him, what do you see now? And she goes, what? And she looks, she goes, oh my goodness, the water's vanished. And there's a beautiful land. And she steps forward. She says, look at this beautiful land. Look at the grass and the trees. They're more exquisite and vivid and full of colour than anything I've ever seen. And she walks on further. This is amazing. What is this, husband? And she turns around and her husband is vanished. And now it's man and on MacLear himself. I'm the sea god. I made that happen. She's like, what is going on? Where is my husband? Don't worry about your husband. Is in the war? What's going on? Listen, it's fine, just chill. This is a magic place. I can make it. I know you're stressed. Do you know what? Relax. She's looking up, she says, you know what? It is a beautiful place, and I feel myself starting to relax as well. She's emotionally reaching out as well. So she's starting to relax and she's looking about, man on that near saying, this magic place, everything here is the most perfect, exquisite version of anything in your world. Go look at that flower. So the Queen bends down, she picks up a flower, and it's the most velvety, beautiful flower. She smells it, and it smells so beautiful. He says, look at that stream, taste the stream. So she goes over and she tastes the stream, and the stream is honey. And she's never tasted such honey. It's the most exquisite, sublime honey she's ever tasted. And she looks at man on MacLear and she goes, my goodness, this is so beautiful and so wonderful, but I'm confused. Why have you brought me here? Why are you here? What has happened to my husband? And man on MacLear looks and goes, well, I've got something to tell you. You see, your husband is having a problem with some sheep. What? Oh yeah, it's killer sheep. You know, you've heard about them. They set people alive and then they eat the bodies. You know those kind of sheep? No. Yeah, well anyway, he's got a problem with them. But I've got a dog, and my dog eats sheep, so I said to him, can I have the dog? He went, okay. However, in exchange for the dog, he had to give me permission to do it with you. And the Queen looked and went, what? My husband gave you permission to do it with me? Yeah, he's a cool guy. Oh my God! Really? Yeah, really. That's disgusting. And my mum over there said, look, don't worry about it.
it's fine. She says, you're not going to give him the dog then, because I haven't slept with you. And man Ron McNair said, no. He's done his part of the deal. He's given me permission. I'm going to give him the dog. You just chill, enjoy this place. So the Queen relaxes, and she's looking about the place, and it is exquisite. And she hears bird song. And she says, that bird song is so beautiful. And then she kind of hears people singing and chatting, and the sound of it is so beautiful. And she turns to Man Ron McNair and she goes, is everything here more exquisite and more beautiful than back in my world? And Man Ron McNair goes, it is. And she went like, is food better? He goes, food's way better. And sports? Sports are way better. And she kind of looked at him. She went, huh. Everything here is so much better than everything back there. It is. And my husband thinks you've come to me in disguise as my husband to seduce me, and I'll think you are my husband. Yeah. Huh. Well, now that I'm here and everything's so much more beautiful and exquisite, I mean, I guess it'd be amiss of me to maybe not try some of the pleasures here. And Man Ron McNair looked and went, huh? She went, we do it, sex. Oh, yeah, absolutely. She said, it's a condition though. My husband must never ever know that I know that you're Man Ron McNair. For all he knows, you've seduced me in the shape of my husband. Can you do that? And Man Ron McNair went, yeah, of course, babe, no problem. I'm that kind of guy. Don't tell anything, our secret. Let's do it. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? They did it. They lay together as husband doth lay with wife. And they doth. So there's a lot of dothing going on. I'll leave that dothing now. Back to Dalriada with the sheep. And burning men and men being torn apart and ending up there laughing. And poor Freaker's in the middle of all this thinking, oh my goodness, when suddenly, who returns but Man Ron McNair with a smile on him. And Freaker goes, well, did you do it? He went, oh yeah. Right, what a goer, a lucky man. And she doesn't think that, she knows it's not you, she thought it was me. Don't worry. She thought it was her husband. It's all good. She's chilled. And you've got the dog. I've got the dog. And he picks up a wee dog, and he throws it there, and the wee dog throws it there, and the dog is bigger and bigger and bigger, and huger, and suddenly turns into a demon dog with great fangs and blazing eyes, and it lands in front of the sheep, and it tears into the sheep, and it starts ripping the sheep apart, and the sheep are now bleating in fear. And it's ripping them apart, and there's blood and gold and sheep eyeballs and everything. And up in the hill, folk can see all these sheep in the stride. They're thinking, oh my goodness, and some of the sheep start running up the hill, and they run into the ranks of the warriors of the King of Ulster, and they start bawling and screaming as well, and the sheep are eating them, and then the dog comes in and eats all those sheep, and all the warriors are like, oh my goodness, the King of Ulster must have really powerful magic, so they all run away. And the ones that don't run away, they join the King of Ulster. They switch sides. So now the King of Ulster has a massive army. And he's got up the hill now. And poor King of Dalriada, his army shrunk away. And there's only a few folk to defend his palace. And it's no competition. And the Ulstermen get to the palace. They get into the palace. And they slaughter everybody. Every member of the court, every member of the family, they're all slaughtered. Until only one person is left, and that is the King of Galway. And he is taken out into the field beyond the palace, and there stands Fiachra, and Fiachra has an axe. And the King of Dalriada looks at him, he says, brother, why are you doing this? And Fiachra said, you broke our promise, Galway. And at that, the King of Dalriada looked, and who did he see in the field there? But the little old lady. And she was standing there with her black pipe, and she was leaning on a wee walking stick made out of some bones. And the King of Dalriada, he looked at the King of Ulster and went, I understand. Make it quick. And he knelt down there, and Fiachra chopped his head off. And so ended the entire line of the King of Dalriada. And Fiachra,
he was cheered and he became king of Dalriada. And suddenly he was king of Dalriada as well as the king of Ulster. But you know, Fiacre was a clever man. He didn't want to be king of Dalriada, he set up another king. And from that day on in Scottish tradition, Dalriada suddenly became a stronger country and more powerful, and it expanded, and it eventually became the country of Scotland. Fiacre, meanwhile, returned to Ulster. He returned to Ulster and everything was fine. There was Fiacre Dove and him were ruling again, and he was cheered, but now he was more powerful than the other king because he just defeated Dalriada. He celebrated, folk are cheering him, and of course he celebrates his wife. He says, wife, thank you for looking after the kingdom. Thank you, wife. And she looked at him and she went, husband, I will be your queen, but I'll never again be your wife. And he looked at her and said, why? And she said, do you remember that time during the war you returned? He went, oh yeah. You returned to check on supplies? Uh-huh. And we slept together? Oh yeah, I remember that, yeah. Oh, husband, that was the most sublime coupling I've ever had in my entire life, and I can never speak with you again because I don't want to lose the memory of that He went, huh, okay. But she said, I've got good news for you. I'm pregnant. You're going to be a daddy. I went, oh, fantastic. And so a baby was born. And he was called Mulhern. And Mulhern wanted to have great adventures and great loves as well. But none of his adventures were as mad as Fiacre to kill a sheep. And none of his loves were as sublime as his mother's dalliance with Manon. And as for the queen, well, she, after the baby was born, she left Ulster. She went to Dalriada, she went and lived in Loch Lomond, she became a Christian, and eventually she became one of the founding saints of Scotland. As for the Cailleach, she's still here. You look about, you'll see her with the pipe on her, and a wee walking stick there, and she made a cow with her. She's still here. And she's still demanding respect. And if you respect her, she'll look after you. And your crops will grow, and your communities will be healthy, and the land will be healthy. But if you annoy or disrespect her, she will absolutely destroy you. She will use every means she can. She'll use war, she'll use hurricanes, she'll use famine, floods, fire, every single way she can. So do not disrespect the Cailleach. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolutely true story from medieval times.